All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much, students, right? You guys are in the position you're not normally in today.
Yeah.
Everyone enjoying this beautiful summer day so far? It's absolutely gorgeous outside. Well, that is true, right? Should I open these blinds a little bit? I will say we're not for lack of kids upstairs. As I was walking in, I was like, oh, the teachers are used to this. There's just children everywhere, all over the hallway. But so I am Amanda Morton. I'm with Cyprus Credit Union, and I have Alyssa Olson here with me as well. I feel like I've met some of you before, but if not, I'll just kind of give you a brief introduction of myself and what we do. So I'm over kind of all the financial literacy for the credit union, and then I also oversee all of our community engagement, kind of corporate sponsorships, things like that. Alyssa works directly with our educators and then with the community in providing as much financial education as possible. And so really, as a credit union, one of our main pillars is financial education, financial literacy. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about that. But just so you guys know, the whole point of today's session, it's really about helping to draw the connection between the industry and then what's happening in the classroom and how we can support what's happening in the classroom. So what we do is every year we come to this conference, and throughout the year we gather as much information as we can from different educators, from CTE directors, from all of the places that we can. And then during the summer we go and we kind of go into our hibernation revamp mode, which isn't very hibernating because it's actually just a couple of hours here and there in a conference room. We don't disappear by any means, and then we try to revamp things to make them the next level for you all. So today we're going to touch base on just a couple of those things, some of the really new exciting stuff, and then we have kind of a lot of continuing things that I'll just touch on at the very end. So to start with, last fall, after a lot of discussion with a lot of different educators, we uncovered that one of the barriers in the classroom was that even though, so for example, Cyprus is providing the financial literacy software Student in the classroom. Even though we have a really lifelike simulation, one of the issues for students is that not every student is given the opportunity to actually practice with real money that they're responsible for, because they may not come from a family who has the means to do that. And maybe they're not old enough to get a job yet. Maybe they don't have transportation to a job. There's a lot of barriers. But as we all know, the more we kind of get into a more like impoverished situation, the higher and higher the barriers become. And so we believe that every student should have the opportunity before they go on to college or secondary education, post-secondary education, whatever that looks like, that they actually have had the chance to work with real money. So what we did is we created an account called a Teen Learn and Earn account. And so what this is, Alyssa, I'm going to have you just go and hit all those for me. Essentially, a teen can earn up to $225 of their own money to learn the practices that you all are teaching them in the classroom. So what happens is, just by being associated with you all in the classroom, when the teen opens the account, they're immediately just going to get $25. So they immediately have money to start practicing with. After that, because they've opened the account, and as long as they enroll in like electronic statements, things like that, we don't want paper statements, we're going to give them an additional $50. So right off the bat, the teen has $75 available to them that they can start practicing with. Now, this is all live in a checking account. This money is being deposited into a checking account, much like a paycheck would be. So they're going to see what it looks like to have money come into the account, and then they have a debit card that they can start utilizing these funds for. Now, there's a lot of safeguards created with this. They're not going to be able to overdraw it, because we don't want a teen to end up in a situation like that. They do still have to have some sort of 18 or above on the account with them. They are not eligible just to open it completely on their own. There has to be some sort of adult kind of helping them with this. When I say helping them, I mean really just being on the account. So after that, in the online banking, which, have you guys noticed that teens like cell phones? Has anyone noticed that? Is that like new to me? No, okay, yeah, right. So teens love their cell phones, right? And so we talked about how if we want teens to actually truly participate in some of the financial education outside of the classroom and kind of on their own time, in their own, within their own mobile app, that's where we need to put the additional financial literacy. So then in there's 3 different modules, and they just go in and they complete, it's almost like a gamification of financial education, and as they complete them, then they're gonna get their additional $100 when they complete all 3 modules. Now the modules have a decent amount of little, what's the word I'm looking for? Little mini modules within them. Some are as quick as 2 minutes, some might be more like 7 or 8 minutes. They have videos, they have really relevant things to what their life looks like now. And then finally, they will get direct deposit they'll get $50 whenever they open up a direct deposit. So meaning whether that's immediately because they're already working when they get their Teen Learn and Earn savings, or if it's not until later on down the road. We actually make teens 13 through 19 eligible for this, because we also know that a lot of high school students turn 18 during their senior year, and we don't want them to not have the option to, again, practice while they're still in high school. So this lasts all the way till they're 18. If you want to learn more about this, you can scan this up here and we can get you additional information. But the additional $25 savings, that's not something that's going to be available to all teens, only to teens who have an association with the high school financial literacy classroom. Before we move on from the Learn and Earn, do you all have questions on this that I can answer for you? Yes?
You said that anybody, is it anybody over the age of 18 that can sign with them? It doesn't have to be their parents.
I mean, no, it doesn't have to be their parents. So it can be a guardian, it can be, we don't want friends who are 18 and 17, right? Like we don't want that situation. We would, unless it really made sense, we would kind of handle those on a case-by-case basis. But yes, it could be a guardian, it could be a grandparent, it could be an older sibling who's 5-10 years old or something like that. It just has to be someone who is technically an adult. And actually, when they're 18, they actually can have this by themselves. They wouldn't have to have an adult at that point in time. So in that 18th to 19th year, they can do this by themselves then.
Okay.
Yeah.
My students' parents have stolen their credit and stuff like that. So I'm like.
See, and that's, yeah, unfortunately, these are some of the situations that we're talking about, right? So
yeah.
Those kind of students aren't getting money from their parents to learn how, instead they're learning really bad things like how to steal people's credit or identity or whatever, right?
Okay.
And so yes, if there is someone trust in the family, then that's who we would recommend that they do this with 100%. Thank you for asking. Yes?
Do they go down to one of the credit unions to open this?
Yeah. They have 2 options. They can go into a branch if they want the in-person experience, or they can do it online with whoever the adult is going to be. Alyssa, which code does this take? What does this take them to? So it's
just the website with our...
Which then has the link. Yeah. So then it has the link if they want to just open it right there on the spot. Yes. So they don't have to wait. You're welcome to share this with whoever you want. Also, even though they're not your students, if you guys have teens in your life, you can give them the extra $25 too. So they can use that code, the promotion code. Any other questions on this? Okay, Alyssa, if you'll hit the next one. Okay, so Alyssa is going to talk to you about our She's Got Sense program.
Okay, thank you. Everyone hear me okay right here? Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk about our new program. This is entitled She's Got Sense. So just to give you, first of all, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background of the past couple years, what we've been doing, and how it led to this new idea. So you can see this box of previous participation. These are 2 previous programs that we have helped in, and it has shown us that there's a need and a desire from students and teachers for additional support. So first of all, the first program that I participated in is Invest in Girls. Were any of you at the conference last year and heard me present about this? No? New concept for everybody? Okay, so the Invest in Girls program is actually a national program. This is created by something called CEE, it's back east, and they decided that they were going to have a 6-week course, well, a 6-week series of courses to teach specifically girls in high school more information about financial literacy. What has been noticed is that there are a lot of girls, there's a little bit of a gender gap in understanding within financial literacy. So there have been all of these different studies that have shown this gender gap in understanding and shown that a lot of times in the classroom, especially when it comes to financial literacy, the girls are less likely to speak up if they have questions in front of their male peers and actually even prove that they have understanding if male peers are expressing an understanding that they have as well. So in all of this program back east decided to have this new program. So it's specifically looking at girls in high school, and we were able to teach that here in Utah for the first time. This was spring of 2024. It took place at Cyprus High School. So this was an after-school program, and we had, we'll say, 12 girls that actually were able to graduate from this program. There was a little bit of ebb and flow with participation, but these 12 girls had to participate in at least 5 of the 6 classes in order to graduate. So we were able to actually give this information to the girls, and I was the instructor, and what was noticed is that in the first class, a lot of the girls were sitting back. They didn't want to participate. Majority of them were primarily Spanish speakers in the class, and I could tell that there was a little bit of hesitancy from each of them to participate, to get to know each other in the class, to trust in me as an instructor. So that first class was a little bit difficult. By the end of the 6th class, I had girls translating for one another, speaking up, stating that they went home and taught their parents after class the different concepts from the class, and saying that they were opening accounts to start to practice now and change habits that they've seen generationally in their family. So it was a fantastic program. We loved it. So that was the first thing that we participated in, was in the Invest in Girls program. Then there was a club that was brought to my attention. This was through Harriman High School. Their DECA club had a group of 3 girls, and they decided that for their DECA project, they were going to do an investment club for girls at their high school. So they entitled it the Invest Her Club. And so once again, these students noticed the same need that was noticed by this national program. So the girls started to put together these things. They contacted me asking for some assistance, asking for my knowledge, my expertise. I was able to actually sit with them, mentor them, talk to them about how to run their program. I was able to attend with them. Their first session had over 90 girls attend after school, and they were able to maintain a good attendance throughout the semester. And so they even started to have a few boys start to attend the class as well that was mainly attended by girls. And they noticed the same thing. They told me that the girls felt empowered. They felt excited about finance in ways that they never had experienced before. So those were the 2 previous programs that we've participated in. So now we have created She's Got Sense. This is going to be starting this fall. So you can see that we've already done different things with this, and this is just a new way to run the program and give additional students access. So with Cyprus High, the Invest in Girls Club, the Invest in Girls program, they were able to actually have students on site in one classroom. The Invest Her School Club was any girl at Harriman High School. And we want to make sure that everyone in the state has full access to this same program if they would like to get additional knowledge, right? We want to help close that gender gap a little bit more. So what we're going to be starting is a free 9-month virtual program. Okay, so these are going to be 30-minute sessions. We know that holding a student's attention for too long after school, not going to work very well. Okay, so it will be a 30-minute session once every month, and students can talk to teachers. We'll give each of you teachers a referral link later on in the year, so watch for that. And we will be able to get this information out to any student who wants to participate. Now, we're mainly focusing, right, it's called She's Got Sense. We're mainly focusing on closing that gender gap and allowing girls to participate. If boys also want to participate, that's fantastic, right? Get everyone the knowledge. But we're just here to start empowering those girls so that they can feel better about the knowledge that they do have. So this is going to be open to all girls. And like I said, the referral link will be coming from a teacher. So we won't be doing anything with that registration. We'll make sure to give the teachers the links because teachers know which students would want to participate better than we would. Okay, so definitely watch for that and let us know if you have any students who want to participate so that we can get them in there. The other nice thing, this will be statewide, so they'll be able to see how many other girls in the state are gaining the same education, and it will empower them and unify them a little bit more from everywhere in the state. Okay. So the topics that we are planning on covering will be on that right side. We have the banking basics, right? We can't go too far without understanding how banking works in general. We'll be talking about payments and the safety of payments, so kind of avoiding fraudulent payments, making sure that you're paying people correctly, difference between a debit card, a check, a credit card, all of those things. Goal setting, right? And that leads into our spending plan, which is budgeting. We're going to talk about how to set a good goal prior to setting up a budget. Okay? How many of you have ever seen somebody set up a budget or some other goal and they give it up within about 2-3 weeks? A lot of times we focus on the gym in January, right? Everyone gives it up really, really fast. It's because you're not focusing on the right starting point of setting a goal. So we're going to teach them how to find the right starting point to set up a successful goal for themselves and walk them through setting up their own spending plan or budget. Then we'll be talking about interest. This is going to be both interest on a savings account that they earn, as well as interest on a loan that they're paying. So understanding why this is important, why you can't just sign a document, right, when you're getting a loan. You want to make sure you fully understand the commitment that you're making. The other thing that we notice is that credit is one of the least understood financial principles in the United States. Right? Adults and children alike don't understand what a credit score is or how to have a good credit score. So we'll be giving them this information so that once they start getting loans, potentially at the age of 18, they're being a little bit smarter about it. Okay, and then we'll also give them, on top of just teaching them about credit scores, loan education. So not just getting a loan, not just getting a credit card and maxing it out, but how do you utilize that to actually help you in the future? So those are the topics that we have kind of discovered to be good starting points for each of these students. Do we have any questions on these or additional suggestions on different topics that could be covered? Yes.
Are these lessons going to be asynchronous, or they all have to log in at the same time and watch it? Going to be you all teaching, or?
Yes, great question. So it will be kind of like a Teams meeting or a Zoom meeting, right? So a virtual meeting all together where there will be one instructor. So I would be the instructor kind of walking them through these concepts. That way they also have a good person to reach out to with individual questions, because once again, like you've probably seen in a classroom, some students are happy to reach out and ask questions in front of a group. Others like the one-on-one interaction a little bit more. So that way they know exactly who they can turn to ask those individual questions.
They will be recorded though, so that, and then whoever's enrolled will email the recording out after if they have to miss for some reason. Great question.
And those of you that weren't here in the room, Amanda did mention that we will be recording them so that if anyone does miss, then they can view the recording. Any other questions? Yes.
Will they have to maintain sort of accounts that use sensitive, like, they consider their names and email sensitive data that we can't just allow kids to do without getting approved by the school? So do they have to make accounts?
That's one of the questions we wanted to ask you guys all today. So we could do it without, no, there's not going to be a user ID and login, but we'll have to have a way to send them a calendar invitation. So we would need to, when they sign up for the class, we will have to be able to get their email address to send a calendar invitation for them to get the Teams or Zoom link to. Do you all feel like that's going to be a problem for them?
Only if their data is released. I mean, I have to, in my school, send it to somebody who's over like IT and things, because every school has to report all the sites in which data information has been given throughout the school year.
Yeah.
So
is an email address considered their data information?
yes.
Okay.
they-
Okay.
they-
Yeah. So then we'll work with. Thank you for bringing that up. We'll figure that portion of it out, because what we don't want to do is add additional burden to you all by making you manage like sending out like a calendar invitation to everyone in your classroom who decided. So maybe what we'll do is actually just create the same link that would just be utilized all year that you all can just issue out once, and then that would solve that. So it'll just be the same link that they pull up every time. Yes.
Is it something that, I mean, I could pull up and you would just have my email and then the Zoom would be like on the board and I'd have students like
100%.
a club attend?
100%. Yeah, we would love that. Yeah. And if there's something like an individual club setting where you want a little bit more of an intimate type of a feeling, we can facilitate that as well. Like this program specifically is meant to be, as large as we can make it, but they can also be narrowed down to if you have a great interest in that, then absolutely. Yeah, so we can make either way work. Really, it's about making whatever works for you all work. Yes.
I don't see a lot of branches of credit union in Washington County. If I see one in Hurricane, there may be more, but that was just the closest. Do these students have to be really self-motivated in an atmosphere like that, where they would have to get their parents driving pretty far, maybe, to open an account?
Such a great question. Well, on August 15th, there's a brand new one opening right down there. So in St. George. Yes, but to kind of further elaborate on that, because of the rule around we have, no, they don't have to come in. They can open it online. Yes, everything can be done electronically or virtually at this point in time. So yes, and we don't. To participate in this, they don't have to be a member of their credit union. That's not something we're going to monitor in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, if they want to take advantage of the Teen Learn and Earn account, that they'd establish a membership. But this is just open to all. There's no requirement other than just show up to learn.
You mentioned them being recorded. That can also be a no-no for us. Is it just recording the presenter?
Just recording the presenter, yes. Yeah, we wouldn't want to record the individual students.
And like, do they comment? Is it an interactive thing? Because voices are considered. We got an email about it this year about that.
Oh my
People
gosh.
were getting TikToks, but they weren't showing faces. They were getting voices, and that was still enough.
Yeah, so it would, because it's expected to be a larger group, it would be a comment type of a thing. You all have probably been in those group settings. It would be a comment.
But no unmuting and like speaking, just the comments, and that would.
Yes, yeah. And what we would do is we'll have a second person in monitoring the comments who would voice the comment, like another Cyprus employee who would voice the question to the group, and then it would be answered, if that makes sense. So because it will be completely anonymous for the student in that regard. Does that satisfy all the different areas, you think?
I think so.
Okay, yeah. There's so many, and every single year it seems like things change a little bit in terms of like, now it's considered sensitive, or now what students can do or they couldn't. So for example, when we did with the Invest in Girls at Cyprus High, like we didn't really run into any of these issues whatsoever. We were allowed to have communication with them, but that was a year and a half ago now, right? So it just changes constantly. Guys, there was another reason I came and stole the microphone, and I can't remember it. It'll come to me, though. So I will let Alyssa take back over.
Oh, I think that's all for this slide. If you want to take the next one. Okay, so going off of this, we have an additional program that we're going to tell you about. This one is it's called our Goal Getters Club. So this one is just empowering student success. This one is very short as far as our presentation is concerned, and I'll tell you kind of a little bit about our purpose in this. So for me personally, I was in choir in high school, and in choir, I was required, if I wanted to participate in the yearly tour, I had to pay for tour, right? So what I noticed about my saving habits is that during tour, all of my money, 100%, because I was a sweeper at an elementary school. So 100% of my money almost went into my tour payments, okay? And that's where all my money went. Then the off time, after I went on tour and until the next tour payment started, none of my money went into savings, and I just used that as fun spending money. Then I had to switch my mind back into the saving mode and making payments mode, and it went back and forth for the 3 years that I went to choir tour. How many of you have noticed similar things or similar habits that kind of form, especially in the teens? Yes, okay, so that's what we're trying to prevent here. We're trying to encourage a little bit more of a long-term savings goal and habit changing rather than just meeting your current needs, okay? Prepping for the future. So basically what we're doing is this is tailored as a guest speaker. So a lot of times what we like to do is come into a parent-student meeting. So not just in front of students, because a lot of parents like to have the information and know what the students are being taught so they can encourage the same thing from home. But we come in for about 10 minutes during a parent-student meeting, and we kind of just talk about how real life works with these financial skills, how to avoid going back and forth so much. So a lot of times we're going into clubs, we have extracurricular participation, so we'll go into sports teams, we go into clubs like choir, anything that these students are having to pay for something, or even if you have students and you want them to learn those same skills for something else that they're participating in. Okay, and basically what we do is we talk to them about the dangers of moving back and forth with your habits in that way, and trying to teach them that they can actually utilize existing free savings materials to keep and maintain the same habit. So for example, if they have a lot of self-control in that off season between sophomore and junior year when they're going on the same tour, same trip the next year, they can put the same amount into a savings account, earn interest, still make those payments. By the time they have their first payment that is due, they probably have enough to cover almost the full tour for the next year. Okay, so if they have really good self-control, a savings account works wonders. Like was mentioned, well, we have our Teen Learn and Earn account. That one actually, for the first $1,000 in it, they earn 5% APY in our savings account at Cyprus Credit Union. So we're trying to teach them, hey, put some money into savings, prepare for the future. I also know that sometimes that doesn't work for students, right? Putting it into a savings account means I can transfer it out later and go get food with my friends. So we also have these things called CDs. I'm sure you've heard of a CD before. Cyprus has a really unique CD called a Dream CD. Typical CDs will start with $1,000 and you can't add to it or remove, right? But it has a higher interest rate. Cyprus has one where you can start with only $20, then you add at least $10 a month throughout the CD term. So it's used as more of a savings and budgeting tool rather than just a normal CD to save for the future. So we encourage students who maybe struggle with putting money aside and out of sight, out of mind, we'll lock it up into a CD if they opt into that, where they can then put that tour payment on the off season into the Dream CD, earn the same interest rate as a regular CD, and then once the time the CD is up in 6 months up to 5 years, they're ready to move forward. Okay, so we're just trying to teach them the same thing, that there are these amazing tools out there to help encourage good habits rather than bouncing back and forth. Yeah?
What if they forget to put $10 in or don't want to?
Yes, fantastic question. So that $10 requirement, they can add more if they would like to, but the $10 minimum requirement is automatically moved from their checking account into the savings every month. And so the nice thing is if they open a Learn and Earn account with Cyprus Credit Union, they earn the full $225. That more than covers the $10 requirement every month for the next 6 months of moving money into that CD from the checking account. So they would have to have a little bit of self-control over it, but it's still an option for them. Yeah, great question.
We'll never overdraw their account though. So meaning like the $10 isn't available, it just won't transfer. And since they're teens, generally it's just gonna be what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any other questions? Okay, perfect. So this is another thing that we can come out and do once again for free. We could do it virtually or in person and just teach those skills if they're doing something like a club where it's then a little bit more applicable with saving for specific items.
Okay, our last couple of things. Is anyone currently using the student financial simulation software in your classroom? I've got some really exciting fun things to tell you in just a second, but what has been your experience so far with that?
Overall, it's been great.
And which district are you in?
I'm not in a district,
Oh.
small charter school.
Oh, I love that. I love to hear it in a charter school.
Winter sports school.
Okay, great. And how about for you? Both of you.
Cyprus High School. I've used it for like years and years.
Great.
It's just basically kind of like our class, I don't know, simulation. So they pay their bills every week. I set it up to where like they buy their desks and things. And
Yes.
the front rows are cheapest and the back rows are most expensive.
Yeah, but just like a mortgage, right? Like on the water, it's gonna be the most expensive, right?
Yep, they have to buy their
Don't buy- yeah.
passes and things like that. And they have little treats and stuff like that.
That's
They
awesome.
love the life happens part of it. And
I love to hear such a full integration. Thank
yeah,
you.
I really do.
Thank you.
Use it a lot.
And
I
how-
do jobs.
Oh, you do? Good.
Yeah. Unless-
So you do the whole
Yeah,
simulation.
They always want extra money, so I'm like, hey, you could be my stapler. So like, they're the they apply for it, I make a stapler. So anytime I need something stapled, my stapler does it.
There you go.
So, like, all different types of jobs.
So what I'm hearing, if anyone wants to come to you to see how you set it up,
Yeah.
they may be able to
I
come
already have a
ask you.
template that I give out to
Oh,
people
that's
all the time. I just use my template, it has all the stuff already in it, all the prices and everything.
perfect. And how about for you?
I'm in the Alpine School District. I've been using it since Brian and I talked about, he talked to me about creating it many years ago.
Great.
And so I love it, it's great. Yeah, I use it for many things in the classroom.
Perfect.
Classroom management, it's great.
Great. Okay, good. So it's going to continue to be free. So with our partnership with Student, Cyprus Credit Union covers the vast majority of Utah, and then we have another credit union who covers the northwest side of Utah. So regardless, it doesn't really matter because it's just completely paid for anyone in the state of Utah, any general financial literacy teacher. The amazing thing, and I wish it had been ready that I could have showed you all a little bit on this today, but I will actually be coordinating with all of the directors over general financial literacy in the different districts to get this information out to you guys. But Student acquired an additional platform so that they could make it an even more robust system. And so essentially what's happening is, you know how right now everything's like a Word doc? You have to, if you want to utilize any of the curriculum, it's a Word doc, you have to print it. So now everything is actually just it's not going to be Word docs anymore, it's going to be housed right there in the simulation. There's this really cool new things called bell ringers. It's real life situational, like 2 to 3 minute videos that come up at the beginning of the classroom, and then they take a automatically graded quiz right after. And I know everyone here, no one hates auto-graded quizzes, right? That does not make your life easier at all. But it was a really great acquisition on Student's part, and so it's just going to further supplement it. If you aren't currently using it, like I said, it's at no cost to you all. So we highly recommend jumping in and giving it a shot, and maybe reaching out and getting some tips from our educators who have fully embraced it. And then Alyssa, will you hit our next thing?
Can I ask one quick
Yeah, please.
The reason I did not start using it was because a few years ago when I was introduced to it, the idea was it was only going to be free for a year or two. And I don't want to start something that my school won't pay for.
I understand.
So are you saying that it is free forever, or is it just free for a year?
No. So Cyprus has a 5-year contract,
5 years?
but I don't think that's, listen, I can't exactly, read the crystal ball, but I can kind of read the crystal ball. And I mean, we're already discussing extending it. So it's not like, I don't assume it's going anywhere. It's, yeah, so as of today, if nothing else changed, it would be guaranteed for at least 3 more years. And but like I said, they're great partners of ours. We think the fact that they invest so much into their product to continue making it better, that's what we want as well. So I don't see us not partnering with them. Thank you for asking that. Okay, the last piece that we just want to tell you guys all about to make sure that you know, because we actually don't see a ton of mini grant applications come from our general financial literacy educators, but we know that there's a lot of really cool things and ideas you all have in your classroom. So Cyprus Credit Union gives 8 $250 mini grants a month. So it's $2,000 a month. Applications open again in July, so that we start issuing them in August, and then the applications wrap up. We take our last applications in April. So essentially what it is it is any ideas or thoughts that you all have on ways to create additional supportive creativity within your classroom. We love hearing all the different things that people come up with. I mean, there are so many amazing ideas. Like I said, applications July 1st through April 30th, $250 a teacher, but up to 4 teachers can kind of pool their money and all submit the exact same application, so you could get $1,000. So if you are maybe work with a couple other general financial literacy teachers, or maybe there's another area that you're teaching in as well, 4 of you can come together and submit the same application in the same month, and then if it's approved, that'd be $1,000 that you get. So the restrictions are that it's kindergarten through 12th grade, educators only, so it can't be educational assistants or anything like that. That you do have to be in Utah, and it can't be used for salaries or stipends, travel, stuff like that. It has to be stuff that's specifically happening to impact the students right there in the classroom. We will be giving a code here at the end where you can actually, Cyprus has a whole teacher resource section of our website that not only talks about this, but talks about all the other, it's a long list of resources that we have for you all. So, any questions on mini grants? Have you gotten one?
I'm applying.
You're applying right now? Okay. Well, if you apply right now, it'll just sit there until the July, which is fine.
All right.
Great, I'm glad to hear that.
That's what I want, so.
Okay, great. Any other questions on mini grants?
It's a super long process to fill out.
It is the easiest grant application you will ever fill out in your entire life. It's
I don't want to dedicate 2 hours to.
I think if I remember, I think it's 5 questions, and 3 of them are who are you? What's your name? How do we contact you? It's basically the hardest part is it's essentially a paragraph telling us what do you plan to do with the money? And what's the outcome going to be? And then what happens is all the applications that come in, there's a committee who goes in and everyone scores them, and then the top 8 scores get the money for the month. And then if you don't get it that month, you can reapply again. So, little insider secret, we get a lot of applications at the very beginning of the school year, and it tapers off. So if you applied, let's say in August and you didn't get one, resubmit a couple months later, especially around I would say December, January, February, it dies off a lot, because with the rest of our lives, that's just the flow, the ebb and flow of the life cycle. So you can only win once a year, but you can apply as many times as you want if you didn't get it the first time around. Any other educator mini grants? Questions? Okay. So right here, Alyssa is going to be your main point of contact. So her email, her work phone, her cell phone, probably her cell phone. We never are at our desks. It is beyond rare.
This is a virtual card of mine as well.
Yep, her virtual business card. And then if you just go to cypruscu.com, and then you can click on in the communities, all of our teacher resources there. And we also have that up at our table. We have pages that have all of our educator resources as well. The final question I have for you all is, what else can we as a credit union do to support you guys? This is where I get all my information for us to start brewing up our new ideas. What are things that you wish that you had support in from industry partners? It can be the most wild idea in the world. It doesn't matter.
So I don't know if this would be something we would implement, but something that I have noticed is how many kids don't know how to actually handle cash. They don't know how to make change. They can't do it in their head. And I think it would be fun to have a banking in-person live simulation day. Obviously not with real money, but something like real money.
Sure.
Where we had enough adults that they could go from station to station and I'm going to apply for a loan, and I'm going to deposit my check, or I'm going to purchase this and make change.
Okay.
Some way to.
It's like J-Town. It's
Only.
They love that.
Yeah.
That's a big.
Yeah.
Class level.
Yeah, class level.
Yeah.
Would be fun.
So, and with what we're getting rid of the penny now, right? And so I think that we're going to see less and less. Yeah, I agree. Like if you were to hand someone cash, like if you hand them like $1.25 for something, so you get like, you know, or $1.50, so you get even change back, they're like,
Yeah.
what? First of all, what is this dollar bill? What is this piece of paper in my hand, right? This isn't Venmo. But no, that's a great, thank you. We'll note that. What else?
So you're opening in St. George. In these programs, do you only utilize credit union employees, or do you utilize volunteers to expand the program?
We haven't ever utilized volunteers to expand the program. It's not that which program do you mean? Like the present, like the...
Wherever you would need help.
Yeah. We haven't utilized volunteers yet, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't, if it was the right scenario, that we wouldn't.
Would you look into that in St. George, please? I am a retired CPA, I'm a certified fraud examiner, and I'm a former bank auditor.
Okay. Whoo, boy.
I'm qualified.
Okay, good to know. Okay, so volunteer opportunities in the industry.
Two things now that you're saying that. Opportunities to come into the bank and like,
Yeah.
is there a possibility that we could come into a bank?
Yeah, and do like a visit with the classroom.
It's like, here's where,
Like a workshop.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have,
here's what they do, here's a loan officer, here's what they do, like,
yeah.
the vault.
So we have done something like that before. And you all would have to tell me how this would work. The two issues we ran into was busing. They had difficulty kind of not nailing that down. And then they wanted to be able to do, I think with multiple classes though, and I think that was the busing issue. So I think if we wanted to be able to do it on like a grander scale, or maybe you brought like 60 students at once, we just have to do it like before a branch opened. But I mean, no, we're always welcome to, we love to host. We host a much smaller groups, like Boy Scout groups and stuff. We'll bring them into the corporate office where there's like a branch downstairs, and then we actually let them meet with the CFO and the CEO and like let them kind of actually get to know them. So I'll just say that just ask for it, and we will usually figure out a way that we can make it happen. Some of the things that they want to see are some things that we can't let them go in the vault with all the money. We can't let them like go back behind the teller line where there's the potential like sensitive information. So that really what feels like it's gonna be cool. People also think that there's like $1 million in a vault. I've got news, you guys. That is not even remotely close to what it looks like. And the vaults aren't these big, huge, like Scrooge McDuck things, right? They're like this big with money in them. So sometimes that's just eye-opening for them, though. One time we had a Boy Scout walk in. He's like, "Okay, so show me which one is my money." And we were like, "What?" He's like, "Which vault has my money in it?" We're like, "Oh, okay." Yeah, let's talk about this. Yes. Any other ideas? Thank you. That's a great idea.
The other idea was thinking, just like Spanish resources and stuff like that. So
Yes.
getting more of that available for the kids, because a lot of my students are English language learners. So.
Yes, absolutely. We do have Spanish resources, and we do have all of our classes available in Spanish. But to your point, we would probably have to gather the Spanish-speaking students in kind of their own pod almost, because if it was in a general classroom and it was half English, half Spanish, or I may have just turned this thing off, then the English students wouldn't understand it. So we would just need you to help us what that would look like. When Alyssa was teaching the Invest in Girls program, we actually utilized some translation devices that we have. You guys have probably seen them before. They're like an earbud. And the amazing thing was this student, like she sat through the first class having to have someone translate for her. And then when she had the earbud in, Alyssa was saying that like, she just like lit up because she finally like was able to get the concepts and understand it because there was a true translation for her. So 100%, that need is there. Any other ways that we as an industry can help support what you all are so magnificently doing in the classroom?
I was just thinking like off of the tour idea, could you guys just do like a video tour and like add it to the teacher resources?
Oh!
You could just show them?
100%. We absolutely can do that. Yeah. And so Alyssa's example with the choir, is one. We have one coming up where we're going to do it with a baseball team. Like it is very applicable across a lot of places, even outside of like school sports or extracurriculars. It applies to people who are like really into like club soccer. You know, like those payments are huge. And so, yeah, absolutely, we can do that. I think that'd be a great idea.
That'd be a cool, like just like a video to show, not even like a live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Anything else? All right. Thank you all so much for taking time to be with us here this afternoon. If you do think of anything, we truly want to hear from it. So next year we can come back with even better resources for you. And the invitation to let us know stands constantly, not just right now. So reach out to us with any of that contact information. Okay. Thank you so much.